can't find a lot of my things. Anyway, how we doing? How we doing, boys and girls? I know it's a little too late right now. Listen, I'm just trying to look for something. Thank you, darling. You look absolutely beautiful too. So, mind you, I do have a bit of hat hair. So, Sayang, I started live at the wrong time. Somebody says, I'm so sorry if I did that, darling. It's my day's been relatively good, I think. I'm going through a couple of, I guess I'm going through my episodes, every now and then. I have been, surprisingly enough, I haven't been switching that much, which is quite alarming, but at the same time, good. But, sometimes it's a saying of, it's a little too quiet. And I don't really know what that means sometimes. When it's a little too quiet, you get a little anxious, if you know what I mean. Hola, hermosa. So, listen. The reason why I came on live is because I'm just working right now. I'm working right now. I'm just making something, but I did want to announce that I'll have to. Sorry, I can't get my thoughts correct because my brain's fried. If some of you don't know. My God, my brain's so fried. I think it's from my last switch. So some of you that know that if you go through a certain switch, and when my one does it, it does take a huge toll on you. As I've mentioned before, it feels like you've run a marathon for a bit, but listen. So the point is, I wanted to bring up hybrid, right? Now, it just hit me. I don't know if it was because I was in my manic state when I figured this out, or it led me to believe that, But essentially the hybrid. So I was originally meant to have 3 songs. Limbo. 영어 듣기 평가예요. 좋습니다. 같이. So if you read the comment, make a heart with your hands. I'll do. Well, gladly. Anyway, as I was mentioning, for everyone that's here for the first time, welcome. You're absolutely all welcome. Anyway, as I was mentioning, so hello to all the new fans. You're all welcome. You're all part of Dreamers. You're all gladly here to enjoy the show. So recently I've been going up and down, but usually a lot of times the triggers for me is being exposed to a lot of stimulating things. But it's kind of weird because it's that's pretty much my life, isn't it? It's well. Anyway, so here's the thing. I was originally meant to release Hybrid. In the next coming up weeks and months, but I don't know if it was me or if it was somebody else inside of me. It sounded quite wrong. That wanted to put a little bit of a delay to it, not for bad reasons, but for the best. I do agree, and I think it's mainly because the hybrid doesn't deserve to be put out just as it is. It should be put out under the circumstance of it being its own entity. And here's my thing. For everyone that thought the hybrid was me, and I did say the hybrid was Maida going into insanity, right? Sorry, vice versa. My bad. It was insanity going to Mito, and it was kind of the end of insanity, which is the most perilous and the most God forbidden, almost rebellious and almost off his ropes. Off his ropes. His most crazy side, right? And going into the essence of Mito, which is the beginning. So that little gap that you see is what I call limbo, right? But here's the thing. So if you think the hybrid is me, meaning the actual hybrid is me, then you're wrong, as I was. I didn't realize. So imagine 내 한이야. 한국 오면 그게 내 한이. 저 한국 갈 거예요. So imagine this. Imagine okay. Here's a very simple anecdote. Imagine every time you use a power, or imagine every time somebody uses a superpower, it affects something somewhere, right? So imagine if insanity was to use his manic insanity side, like a little bit part of it. So that would leak into a compartment inside my consciousness or my brain, I guess, somewhere. And every time I switch to Mito, the remnants of that has to overflow to something else. It's kind of like creating a time paradox, right? And that's what's been happening. So here's the thing: if when you change into Mito, when I change into Mito, it's essentially because I'm revisited by a feeling that triggers the same notion of that emotion that I felt during that traumatic state to have me come out, right? As Mito or such. But that's essentially not a good thing sometimes. When you summon someone like that, someone that you've disassociated yourself from, it's essentially not a good thing, right? Now, why else would you? Why would it be a good thing? I've learned my lessons. I've learned how to forcefully. 오빠 홍보 보여줘? 그게 뭔 말이지? 홍보가 뭐지? So essentially, when you turn into Mito, and when I turn into Mito, it drains the living soul out of me. Like the same as insanity. But okay, so the point I'm coming to is, every time I switch, it has to go to a certain spot. It has to go into a certain compartment. You can't just switch and not expect the damage to just not be there. 해석은 해드릴게요. So here's one thing. Where does it go to? Where do you compartment? Where do you compartment it? I can't even talk. Where does it all go to? So it goes to a part in your conscious mind where you have so successfully locked it away as a kid, or maybe in your early teens, and you've dared not to look ever since. Because if you look, what's behind that door? Compartmentalize. Fuck my life. Thank you, Sophie. I can't remember the name for the living hell of me. Compartmentalize these emotions into a space, right? So that's what I've been doing. But here's my thing. 제 이상형이 어떻게 되냐고요? 당신이요. So here's the thing, yeah? So when I compartmentalize, kind of know why it's such a hard word to say. When I compartmentalize a lot of these things, I dare not to look because I'm scared of how big it might have gotten. But here's the thing, when every now and then I'm forcefully, and this is what I do when I go lucid dreaming. I look for these doors, and Mito has so gracefully ever tried to stop me, and I've stopped because otherwise he does punish. But here's the thing, yeah. So the hybrid, as I'm going to the hybrid, right? It goes to a spot where, for me, metaphorically, heaven and hell meet. It's kind of like the limbo. It's not heaven, it's not hell, it's like it's in the middle. It's just, bear with me now, not in a biblical sense, but in a more metaphoric sense. And this is where I believe good and bad, right, notions are kept. Some that I can't remember, some that are essentially locked away and put away. So you might be asking, is hybrid another character? It's you know what I've realized? It's created an abomination. I like to call it an abomination, you know, but not the abomination of something that repels. Is the character a part of me? No, I don't think so. I don't think it is. And this is essentially this is where I want to begin but this is where I've always wanted to introduce the story aspect to it. So I'd like to announce pretty early that I'll be delaying my hybrid album, and I'll be delaying it to not too long, like a month or two, maybe 2 months. And I do want to release it into a full EP. I know we might be like, oh my God, but we just got the Insanity EP. No, but that's the thing. You'll understand when you see it. The hybrid is literally the initiation of Insanity. It's when Ian walks into the door and it's when Ian walks into the door, right? I'll call it the forbidden door, right? This is kind of where we all come to, right? The forbidden door. He goes to the forbidden door, and he comes across a void, and in this void, he is met with something that he shouldn't have met. I mean, I don't know how else to put it really. So watching that and seeing that, it essentially, it's kind of like, have you guys seen some, do you guys know when somebody goes into like a tomb, like an ancient pharaoh's tomb, and then they, like that typical story when somebody accidentally opens something that they shouldn't, and they get cursed, and they unleash almost like an ancient titan of a curse or a god or something that they shouldn't have awoken. Before gods there were titans, right? So essentially this is kind of where I'm getting at. The hybrid is ancient. It's not a mummy, but it's an ancient. I shouldn't start with the daddy jokes because of the mummy. Okay, I'll stop. So anyway, so essentially that is kind of what the hybrid is. It's absolutely terrifying, equally terrifying, but so compelling that you can't look away from it. And what that meeting, that encounter, I'll call it the encounter, right? That could be one of the song titles, fuck it. The encounter happens, that's when Ian, when he first goes to the other side, gets the essence of the hybrid. Now listen, here's the thing. Maida has already existed. He has already been existing. Insanity hasn't been created up to the point, right? If you've seen Don't Go Insane, if you've seen So I Danced, and you've seen the progression of Ian turning into insanity, that is the making of Insanity, hence the album Dear Insanity. But Insanity has not existed yet. I'm talking about the origins of the origins, right? So you might be thinking, did Ian just rock up to the other side and turn into insanity, because the longer he was there, the more it took away from his sanity? I'd like to introduce one of the main reasons, actually, and context, if you must. So it's kind of like a paradox, you see. He is gifted almost a curse from the actual hybrid that exists in this realm, right? You might be thinking, but isn't that essentially you? Isn't that the creation of the unconscious mind of you? Now, hang on. I will hold it right there for you. I can't spoil too much, right? But here's the thing. So what does the hybrid look like? What is the creation of, I guess you could say, the excess of switching to Mito and essentially insanity? What is that? What is? I'm telling you, it's a paradox, because that essentially is the I guess you could say the beginning to insanity's journey. I can't explain too much, really. I can't explain too much. But I will say, sonically then, the hybrid album is going to be something that will fuse everything, you know. It's what you could